look at your life, like really analyze yourself and say, am I meeting the goals that I want to accomplish? Am I being kind to myself and having respect? Also, like having respect for others means you also have respect for yourself. And so if you want to do carnivore because you've seen the amazing doctors on here and they're lifting
Right.
the veil off of you and you're starting to actually learn like, oh, things are not quite as they seem. I say really learn everything you can. Don't just jump into it. Don't say, I'm gonna buy steak and eggs and bacon and I'm just gonna throw everything away. No. You really need to understand why it works, how it works, and find like I love YouTube because it's like I can see a real person, I can see their face, I can see how they're like presenting themselves, and then I can go from there and go, well, they're not snoring all night anymore. They're losing weight. They cured their type 2 diabetes. Like maybe something like that can happen for me. And I think when we as people we seek connection, and if you find that connection with somebody online, you maybe you'll never meet them, but you find that connection, you're like, "Whoa, they have the same thing I do, and they're saying this got better." Then you're going to be more motivated because you've reflected on your life, you've learned how it works, and then you can take the proper steps into slowly. I really encourage people go low carb first. If you're not used to it, go low carb. It's okay. You didn't get your health issues like right away. I'm sure it built up over time and give yourself grace.
Hello, fellow carnivore enthusiasts. I'm Adam from Carnivore Today, and in today's interview, we're chatting with Ellie from the Nourishment Redacted YouTube channel. As a wife, mother, and a beacon of positivity, Ellie's journey will fill you with hope and incredible insights into how an entire family lives the carnivore lifestyle. If you're grappling with depression or wondering how to transition your entire family to a carnivore diet, don't miss this interview. Dive in with us as Ellie shares her motivational story and transformative effects this diet has brought to her life. Before we dive in, please take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications so you're always in a loop with our future videos. A big thank you to those who have already done just that. Now let's get started. Today we're with Ellie from the Nourishment Redacted YouTube channel. I thank Ellie for being here along for this chat, and it's going to be wonderful getting to know you a little bit more and hearing your story. So, Ellie, can you start by giving us a little bit about yourself, your family, and where you're from, and things like that before we start the carnivore stuff?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Ellie. I'm 33 years old. I'm married, and I have a 3-year-old daughter who used to be extremely picky and temperamental and emotional, and now and is on carnivore, and she's doing amazing on that. And I have a 1-year-old son who's always been carnivore, so we're a carnivore family. And I was inspired by all of the YouTubers and the doctors like yourself. I was really inspired to share my story so that everyone can learn the truth about what nutrition is supposed to be. And I hope I can be someone who is like a friend or like a sister, and they see it as like a realistic perspective, and it's not scary to do carnivore, and you could improve your health with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how did you come across the carnivore diet? And
Oh,
um, yeah, so let's start with that, and then why did you choose to eat that way?
okay, sure. My discovery with ketogenic eating started when I was 240 pounds back in the end of 2018. I had hit rock bottom. I was extremely depressed and I had a lot of skin issues. I have rosacea, as you can see, and I find that it's getting better with diet. And I used to have thank you. And because of my weight, I used to have like my thighs would rub a lot and I would have like a lot of boils and they were extremely painful. I had some disassociation. I used to disassociate and I was diagnosed with depersonalization disorder. And so that's basically like having some out of body experiences, But since I started doing keto and now carnivore, I've not had anything like that. I've been having really good mental clarity and I feel in my body. And so when I found out about keto, I found it randomly online. I saw this woman who was making like she was express I think it was like I was looking up like weight loss because it's like I knew for many, many years I had gotten too big. I didn't feel
Mm.
comfortable and I was unhealthy. And so what do? You go online, you go how to lose weight. And I've tried
Right.
so many different diets, working out, and the diets that are recommended are low fat. And then all of a sudden I found something like keto, which is high fat, moderate protein, low carb. And I was like, whoa. And my first thought was I can eat burgers and bacon and all the cheeses and all the things that I actually really liked about food. And so I was like, well, I've tried everything else and let's just do it. And so from there, I did that. I was successful for 6 months and I lost 53 pounds with that. And I was
Wow.
able to get pregnant. Thank you. I was able to get
Okay.
pregnant with my daughter. My husband and I had been trying for a while.
That's
And that
awesome.
was that was a miracle of itself. And so when I was pregnant, my doctor, she told me that it's not healthy. It's going to be dangerous for the baby. And so I was having some meat aversions. That's kind of common. It would go away over time, but it's kind of like solidified it for me. And I was like, oh man, okay. So I stopped, and the addiction to carbohydrates was really bad. And because I gained all that weight and I had mental health issues, and so I also learned about it through Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson. They suffered a lot with depression, and so I knew that that would help as well, and just delving into the ketogenic world, and then, I struggled with going back on keto because of the carbs, and I had become, addicted to I love pasta, I loved rice, but they didn't love me. So, you know, and so, and I had really bad chronic constipation where I would only go once a month, and I would be, like, in so much pain. It was so painful, and I would ugh, and now I go, like, 3 times a week. I know that's TMI, but people need to know.
Right. Right. Yeah,
And
that's
so I
awesome.
thank you. And I discovered carnivore, the beginning of this year, or a little bit at the end of last year.
Mm.
And I was like, "Okay, so this is like keto 2.0. This is something," and I delved into, like, the doctors, like Dr. Ken Berry and, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Baker. They're like, I feel like they're like the top ones that you go
Mhm.
to, and like so many wonderful doctors. And I just thought, well, why why not try this? Like I did before. And I believed in ketogenic eating, and it was just the food was so good.
Yeah, for
It's just
sure.
so I loved eating, and I love the communal aspect of, like, a family sitting down and having a meal together. So I was like, but with my daughter, there was a lot of, like, trouble with that because she was really addicted to carbs, and I'm not trying to put her down, but it's the truth, and I noticed that it wasn't even a balanced diet like they recommend. So I knew
Right.
there had to be a change, and I wanted to start with myself first, and I've been seeing great success with it.
That's really awesome. So you you mentioned that you were started out at 240 pounds, right? At your heaviest. So
Mhm.
and then you were keto for a while. What did you get down to on keto? And then have you seen any improvements with weight loss since you started carnivore?
Oh, yeah. So I started at 240. And in those 6 months, although there were a lot of stalls, I remember like a lot of months where I just did not lose weight. I was able, I believe it was 53 pounds I lost. So I had gotten down to 187 and I was feeling fantastic. And, but then, I got pregnant, you gain weight. So I think with my pregnancies, with both of my pregnancies, I gained an additional 20 pounds. And so, and a lot of moms would probably think that's not a lot, but I felt very inflamed and not like myself. And I wanted to be the best mom that I could be with the most energy, and so I knew that I needed to change. And since starting carnivore, so I started carnivore May 2nd of this year, and as a recording, we're in August, and I've lost a total of 28 pounds, and I wrote it down. About 22 inches from my body, which is
Wow. That's
16 weeks.
incredible.
It's 16 weeks. It's
Right.
like, I say this everywhere, it's like, it's melting off of me, like, because the first and I just wanna say this real quick because the first month that I did, keto, excuse me, the first month I did carnivore, I was actually bedbound because I dislocated my knee, which is a repeat injury from something that happened to me when I was a teenager.
Oh, wow.
And so that first month, I lost what I wrote, 15 pounds and 8.5 inches just in that first month alone. So it's not just water weight because I'm sure the weight, there was some
Right.
water weight, but it's like the
Mhm.
inches you have to measure yourself. So
Right.
I've seen great success and every week I'm losing 1 to 2 pounds, which is considered healthy. So and I feel good.
Yeah. So has it been a struggle? I mean, it seems like you're having really good success.
Yeah, I there was, like, maybe in like, the 2nd month I was doing it, I was eating a little bit too much cheese, that's the
Mhm.
culprits, like, if your weight stalls a little bit, but honestly, this is the easiest, and I thought keto was easier, it was like, "Oh, I lost 50 something pounds in 6 months, that's pretty good," but, no, this is incredible, right? And I feel like my skin is tighter, and, my rosacea is getting better, especially eliminating had to eliminate some carnivore foods like, eggs, cheese, bacon, like, things like that, but,
Right.
overall weight loss has been fantastic.
Right. So have you looked into oxalates or anything like that before?
I know of them, but I'm definitely not an expert in them. I didn't have any of the oxalate dumping because I do know
Right.
that that is that does show up on your skin, but I never had any of those. I didn't have any electrolyte issues.
Mhm.
I just really felt I didn't even take electrolytes, honestly. I just, ate with salt,
Nice.
so
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because I have an autoimmune condition with my skin also, and I've always, you know, thought maybe it's something to do with the oxalates from the plants and stuff that we were eating before that causes all these skin issues, and I wasn't sure if there was any relation to that and rosacea. I don't have any experience with that, so I didn't know if maybe you had any kind of thoughts on that.
Some thoughts. I've been receiving because I made a short on my channel being like, my rosacea is getting better, but I'm kind of like impatient with it, and I know
Right.
that this is a sign of um, not being metabolically healthy
Hmm.
from my past, and so it's gonna take time. It's gonna heal. Like you heal the inside, and you're gonna heal on the outside, and they might not align quite. But I think some people were saying that it might be a histamine thing, which is like I just found that out today, and I was like,
Okay. Hmm.
okay, I know that histamines can be in like aged meat and what is it like pork and stuff like depending on like how you cook things. So I'm like I said, it's brand new information to me, but uh, I sure hope so because I want to do research and see if it helps.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that too. If you cook things too long, like in a crock pot, it could bring out histamines in beef. What else? Like if you smoke meats for a long time, like brisket and stuff, I've heard that it increases the histamines in it as well. I don't have any personal experience with testing that out or not, but yeah,
That's good to
I have
know.
heard that.
So don't get a smoker. Got it. But
Right.
I have a crack pot, but I don't think that's gonna go anywhere.
Right. So, I guess a lot of people, if they have a histamine intolerance that I've heard, is they'll cook meat or cook their foods in a pressure cooker that would normally be, 10, 12 hours in a crock pot. That
Mm,
cooking it that shorter amount of time, especially like bones for bone broth, instead of doing that like 24 hours or whatever, they just do it in a couple hours and it seems to reduce the histamines by a huge amount. So again, I don't have any
advice.
experience. That's just what I've heard.
Yeah, that sounds like great advice. Thank you.
So, you've had success on the scale, which is awesome. And are there anything else? Is there anything else that you have had success with that doesn't have anything to do with your weight?
Yeah, I actually have, I talked a little bit about my mental health issues,
Mm.
and I definitely don't have any of those anymore. But on top of it, I actually feel so calm, feel very calm and confident, and just like I used to be, I guess I still am, but I'm an introverted person by nature, and now I'm like, I wanna make all the like, friends on YouTube, I wanna connect with everybody, like, and I really am enjoying that social aspect, maybe because it's not in person, I don't know, maybe, I tend to, when I'm with friends, I tend to pretend like I'm extroverted and be, like, a little silly and goofy and stuff like that. I think it comes across, I am like that. But, I do also have a quite serious side to myself and struggle with a little bit of, like, perfectionism, and I feel like it is getting the anger issue, like, repressed I have a lot of repressed anger just from, things from childhood. I think we all do. We all have, like, a
Mhm.
little child inside of us that's a little, you know trying to
Right.
heal and grow, and yeah, you're just gonna tap into that and go, "Okay, I'm being triggered by this, or I'm being upset by this," and I feel like I'm able to have those conversations or that dialogue with myself, and that is really powerful.
That's awesome. So, in terms of depression, you have a couple videos on your channel. One is called "Letter to My 240-Pound Depressed, Addictive, Fat Self," and "Carnivore is Less Expensive Than Therapy." The both of those sound deeply personal. So, can you give us a little bit more insight into the depression and exactly how that's improved for you over time?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for watching my videos.
For sure.
Would you like me to break it down from, like, because they are different topics technically, so the letter to myself I
Mhm.
guess I'll start with the letter to myself. I was actually inspired by Caring from Homestyle How, his 30-day video where he was like, remember the pain. And I feel like if you don't remember where you've been, you could potentially miss out on what is coming for you. Like you could,
Mm.
like I could forget all the pain because I feel so good. And then maybe go, oh, I'll have a little bread here, or I'll slip up and like I'll just indulge in things and not have the the sense of control I have now. Not no, like I mentioned a little perfectionist, but not like that. Like it's more like I don't feel addicted to food anymore. Food is satiating, and I don't view it as something that I emotionally eat anymore. And so that I really analyzed um my pictures that I have taken over the years, and I just tried to and videos too. I have a small clip video that, like, just broke my heart when I watched it, like, I'm, like, eating, like, waffles with blueberry jam and, like yeah, it was such a sweet thing my husband did for me, like, he made me breakfast and
Mm.
then we watched, something together, and it was into such a sweet memory, but then I also see the look in my eye when I'm eating it, and I'm like, "Well, it's not." Yeah, it
Right.
just isn't, I don't see myself as that person anymore, although she is always with me. And, yeah, just, like, thinking about how rolls of fat, they hang on your body, and it's like you're screaming in pain, like and how, like, the refrigerator like, I use, like, a metaphor that the refrigerator is like a lighthouse, and you're lost at sea, and then all of a sudden you see the light, and then you feel comforted and have a full sense of security when you see it, meaning like just start eating, emotional
Right.
eating. That was like my metaphor for it. I'm a fighter. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I try to be creative with it. And so that one is mostly about like the depression and how I describe my depression is I felt like I was in a really big ditch that was extremely muddy and I felt like I wanted to climb out of it so badly because I would look up and I would see like blue sky and the clouds, and I would see birds and hear people's laughter. And I'm like, life can be so good if I just got out of this hole. And I would try to climb, climb, climb. I'm getting higher and higher, and then all of a sudden I would slide back down. And so I felt like that I had bursts of like optimism because that is part of who I am. But then I just kept slipping down. So that's kind of like what my depression was like. That's how I describe it. Um, oh yeah, you're sad now.
So, um, so obviously, things seem to be better for you in terms of depression. Is that true?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
it is true.
So
Um,
looking back, do you think that what would you say had the most effect on your depression? Was it circumstance, or was it, just things you had been through, or something else maybe?
I think it's a combination of things because I did notice my depression starting to lift when I was on keto. So I do think it must have something to do with losing the weight because I did feel so heavy. I felt
Mhm.
heavy, and when your when your body hurts, you don't want to get out of bed. And I kind of my part of my personality, I think, is that I want to hide from things. At least I used to want to hide from things. So it's like, well, and it's like I'm not feeling myself, and so why not just hide? Why not, you know? And so, how I think that I came from that is I think the weight loss really helped. Having a wonderful husband with me really helped because he was with me the whole time we've been together 12 years. I've known him 16 years. We were friends before that. And so having a really good, thank you, having a really good connection like that is really, really helpful. But the health had to come from me. I had to be able to be the person that was like, I'm gonna find my answer and take charge of it. Um, yeah, so I think just like having a new self image and feeling proud of how I look, that helps a lot. Especially, I think as like women, we tend to, put a lot of stake in our appearance. And I know I think the mind and the soul are so much more important. But when you look in the mirror and you're just like so uncomfortable with it, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, look, we're doing this now.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's kind of the way I felt too. Was you look in the mirror and you're just kind of like, I don't know, you're just disappointed in yourself, I guess, because you let it get to that point. But I looked at it more in terms of it was the food, like it was just blocking my mental ability to deal with things, and the weight is a good part of it. Once you start losing the weight, you start feeling better about your image. But for me, it was the food itself. Just seemed like it had lifted something that allowed me to just not go to the place where I even cared about what I looked like.
No, that's true. And, I'm really glad you brought that up because I completely agree with you. I think I'm the same way. The food had this hold on me. And when I released the addiction, because like part of the time I was addicted to sugar and carbs and coffee. And I felt social pressure to drink alcohol, like, with parties and friends and stuff like that. And now I have no addiction, no addictions to food or anything like
That's
that.
awesome.
Thank you. So
And
I definitely agree.
do you attribute that to the carnivore diet, or
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like when you eat and you're actually having nourishing food, you're not always hungry. Like, sometimes I only eat twice a day. Sometimes I think it's usually like twice a day, whereas when I was eating the standard American diet, uh, sometimes 5 times a day just because I'm bored. I would open, "Oh, look, there's cake in there. Okay, I'm gonna have half a slice." And then I'd be back
right?
15 minutes later, "Oh, look, there's another half a slice." You know? And it's like a burning image in your mind when you know that, like, something's in the refrigerator. Just eat that. Mm. Now I'm like, I wake up and I'm not hungry. And it's like I can be making food for my family, my children, and I feel good. I'm like, you know what? I feel really good right now. I'm not ignoring hunger because if I'm hungry, I eat. I listen. Now I am in tune with my hunger and my satiety.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've experienced the very same thing. Um, it's hard for me sometimes here. Yeah, let's say there's a birthday cake sitting out on the counter. I work from home, so I'm literally walking past 100 times a day, and I just want to throw it away because it's like, how many times can I walk past this thing? But if I wasn't eating carnivore and having the satiating fat and protein, there's no possible way I'd smash that thing in a
Oh
second.
yeah, me too. I'd be like, hey, save some for me.
Right. Yep.
It's hard when you have those foods that you know are not good for you in the house, so I know, like, every family is different, but I decluttered. I decluttered a lot of food. I returned back what I could store, and I put it up on my, like, Facebook market not the marketplace, Facebook, no buy page, and I was just like,
Okay.
"If you want this food, come get it," and someone came and got it, and it felt, like, nice to give that blessing to someone else. And then some things I had to
Right.
unfortunately thank you. Unfortunately, I had to throw away some stuff, but it's like, I rather, um, take in that guilt, understand it, and go, "The foods that I'm bringing in this house are going to be eaten, they're not gonna be going to waste." Like, I'm not gonna have a head of, like, cabbage sitting in my fridge for 3 weeks and go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't eat the cabbage." Throw it away. It's a waste of
Right.
money, waste of resources where someone else could eat it. I hope they don't eat it, but
Right.
I would eat cabbage if I was, starving or, you know,
Right.
or I hate saying
Yeah.
that, but it's true. Like, we live in a food abundant world for the most part, and it's like, I mean, a grocery store can be like 10 minutes from your house, and
Mm.
it's an absolute blessing that we live in a society where we can do that. But I don't like wasting food. It doesn't feel good. So the fact that I'm eating less now, it's better for the wallet. It's better for the wallet, and I feel full and I feel good. So win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So let's shift gears a little bit here. So you're married, you have little ones in the house.
Mhm.
Do you have any hobbies that you enjoy? I know we talked about you doing some painting and things like that earlier. Is there anything else that you enjoy, or is painting it?
No, I actually have a lot of hobbies. I love to write, and I think that comes out in my videos. I love to write. I love to sing. I love to paint, and I also confession time, I'm a little nerdy. So I like video games, and I like less anime as I've gotten older because I just don't think the quality is as good as, like, the '80s, but and '90s, but we don't have to go into that. And my husband and I, we like to play video games together, and, when I was before I before well, I was married, but, like, before we had started having kids and stuff, I used to live in a rented house with, like, 4 or 5 other people, and we used to play and they used to invite friends over, and we'd have, like, Dungeons& and Dragons, and
Nice.
it was a jolly old time. So, yeah, I mean, with kids, it's a little harder to do that stuff, like that social stuff, but, board games are fun. Um, I
What's
guess
your
video
favorite
games
video
now.
game?
My f it goes back to my childhood, it would be Final Fantasy VII,
Oh,
and
nice.
everyone's like, "Oh." It's 'cause it's, like, everybody's favorite Final Fantasy almost. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, I really connected with the characters, and there's a theme of, um, like, death and rebirth, and, you see like, even the main character I don't wanna give away anything, but, he struggles with, like, mental illness and stuff like that. So I'd, like, kinda maybe connected with that a little bit. I don't know. I just liked
Yeah,
it. It's
that's
fun.
that's
It has good
awesome.
music.
Right? Yeah, they all seem to have a lot of good music in those for some reason.
Yeah, they have the most amazing composer.
Right? It's not you, is it?
No, no way.
So you mentioned, a little bit that your family eats carnivore. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So I actually my so this is like my second attempt and like final attempt because I feel really great. But I actually started back in January of this year. Excuse me. And I started with my son, and when he was like, we did baby led weaning, which is basically like you skip the purees, and you give like finger foods. Like you give
Hmm,
the food that you would serve, and but you cut it a certain way to make sure that they don't choke. And it's
okay.
there's a system to it. Yeah, just like a baby led weaning, it's interesting. But I took it in a carnivore spin, so
Mhm.
I'm not giving bananas and like sliced cucumbers like all thin and we gave like his first food was steak and eggs, and I cut into very thick strips, like one big thick strip, so he can just chew on it because I don't even know if he had teeth then, like maybe two,
Right,
one. I don't remember. Sorry,
right.
I should remember those things. He has a lot of more teeth. He has like 6 teeth now, so I'm like, "Did he have teeth?" But, he would just, like, suck on the steak and drink
Right.
the juices, and he had very soft eggs. That was, like, his first meal, and we ate together, and it was great. My daughter, she struggled with, picky eating,
Mhm.
and she kinda had, like, a bit of a meat aversion because I think she was addicted to carbohydrates and sugar. We ate before carnivore, we ate whole food, and I we did not want any processed food in the house because my husband has, ulcerative colitis. He's
Oh,
been battling with that for 14 years, and he's had, like, 4 feeding tubes, and it's quite and he was really failed by the medical, um, by medicine and doctors, and they were just like, "Oh, yeah, you can eat whatever you want, just take this medicine," and he really got hurt on the standard American diet. And so
yeah.
he taught me about like preservatives since I had no idea what preservatives were. So he taught me the skill of like reading packages of food and being like, okay, this has so many ingredients. What's the amount of ingredients and like that we're willing to eat? And so that was always there. But I noticed my daughter, she would only want to eat like fruit, crackers, pasta, rice. And if I would try to give her like, even try to give her vegetables and stuff, and she was just not interested in that, which now we're fine with. But, I knew that her nutrition wasn't good. And, so I was feeding my son carnivore, and I was trying to get her to be more low carb. So I was taking away some, carbs and trying to bring in more fatty meat. And
Mhm.
so we did that for a very long time. Like, she really started eating carnivore about, like, a month and a half ago. So
Okay.
it took, I think, like 6, 7 months, and I did it slow on purpose
Right.
because I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable. And as you're doing those things and, she of course, she asked for carbs, like, yeah, and, she associates her great-grandmother with bagels because when she came down to visit, she would give her bagels. She's like, "I don't want her to come down so I can have a bagel." Things like that happen.
Right.
It's like and you just try to explain, we don't eat that way because there's other foods that are more nutritious, and you just talk about that. So she went from low carb to, I guess, like a meat-based like a ketovore, but she didn't have vegetables and like except like some fruit, like low carb fruit, like strawberries. And then now I'd say she's like 98% carnivore, and she just has strawberries for a snack but we put meat first as the, emphasis on our meals.
Oh, wow, that's
And
awesome.
thank you, it's crazy, and, like, my husband, he did keto with me back in the day, and he's jumped onto the carnivore wagon too, and he's feeling really good too.
That's awesome.
But
So have
yeah.
you seen any, developmental disabilities in your children, or are they alive and kicking? Good? No scurvy yet?
No, that is gonna so it's like, I've been watching Keto Cookout, I'm like, "You don't have scurvy, no scurvy, you don't have a 3rd eye growing,
Right.
you sleep through the night." they sleep through the night. My daughter is doing really well with potty training, whereas before it was like fights and tantrums, like a struggle. And
Okay.
meal times are now like she tells me she wakes up and she's like, I want burgers. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's make burgers. You know, it's like well, she wants to eat burgers, she gets burgers. Like
That's awesome.
and yeah, it's really great. So she has like her foods that she bacon, excuse me, burger patties. She likes cheese, cream cheese, and she also really likes like broth, like chicken broth. And so like those are kind of and like we buy these grass-fed hot dogs and those like really clean ingredients and she loves like sausage and stuff. So we look out for, clean, like maybe 4 ingredients and there's like most of them are seasoning. So it's like meat and so seasonings. And so that's you find the foods your kids like and you give it to them. And so they're like, I don't want this anymore. And then you're like, okay, let's find something else. Yeah.
Right.
Pick something.
That's awesome. So, is it fair to say that the biggest challenge that you had with your family going to carnivore was with your daughter and the addiction to carbs and things like that?
Yeah, I guess so because there was, there were some times in those 6 months where we're like, oh, it's okay, let's just give her the banana, or it's okay, let's give her some bread. And like we we did struggle a little bit with it like on our end because like we have to be firm in our place with like we know this food is causing emotional distress, sugar spikes, it's
Yeah.
causing her not to sleep well. We see that and as parents, I mean your dad too. And it's like you see your kid struggling, you know what could possibly be the answer, but then you feel bad because they're crying. And I heard Dr. Anthony Chaffee say this, and you've probably heard it too, but it's like, if someone's addicted to heroin, they cry and scream. Are you going to give them heroin? Or are you going to be firm and be a guiding hand for that
Mhm.
person and go, this is, not the best for you. I want the best for you. And you explain how fatty meats are really good for your brain and they help and they give you and the protein and all that the fat and the protein they give you energy and you're able to do things that you love to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like you guys have done a really good job with a good mix of being firm and not having it be so traumatic for her.
Yeah, I mean we've messed up. We've messed up like a little bit, it's like we notice we're being a little too firm or a little bit too like relaxed about it. So we're trying to find that balance. It's really important. And say down the line she wants to like I don't know why she would, but if she wants like broccoli or something, like that's
Hmm.
you can eat that and still be in ketosis. Like that's the main objective. Be in
Right.
ketosis, be fat burning and, stay away from, like, cupcakes and sugar and anything comes in a box. Just keep it away from my house.
For sure.
No way. I say, "No,
Right.
we
I don't
just."
know. I don't know anybody who would want to eat broccoli. I mean, when I ate it, I had to like completely dunk it in butter to be able to eat it.
It's
And then collard
actually
greens, you have
important.
to put like bacon grease and all that. So that ended just to be able to get it down. I couldn't stand vegetables, even though I did it for a couple of years. Ate mainly vegan because my business partner was going through cancer and he was doing vegan to eliminate cancer. So yeah, I was getting a double whammy because I was going raw vegan as much as possible,
Mm.
plus garbage for with the standard American diet, not very much fat or meat at all. And yeah, that precipitated a bunch of oxalate dumping for me once I went carnivore because I
Absolutely.
was eating spinach like buckets, buckets of spinach a day. It was I don't even know how I drank it because we blended up, make green
Yeah.
smoothies, put pears and apples in it. I mean, it's
Oh,
just I can't
yeah.
stand vegetables, I never did, but somehow power of the mind is able to convince you of certain things, and I've had to, like, pinch myself a few times with the carnivore diet. Like, is this just me convincing myself because of how the benefits, that I've received, but it's really not. I mean, this is like the way that I eat now. It's not a diet. It's not a lifestyle even really. This is life.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. I think it's so it shows how much empathy you have and how much love you have in your heart for your friend who's going through that tough, tough time, and you're like, "You're gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, we're gonna stick together," and even at the expense of your own health, which you didn't know, obviously. I just think that's remarkable. You should pat yourself on the back for that.
Well, I would do anything for anybody, and he's through it now, which is good. He's still eating a vegan diet, which I'm trying to. Oh man, come on over to the light side.
"We have steaks, come over," and
Yeah,
he's like, "No way, I don't
right,
want that."
right. He struggles with energy and just brain fog, and just you can just tell, he's struggling with it. But my autoimmune condition got worse under eating that way, and I didn't realize it at the time, but now in hindsight, I know it got worse because I was just eating so much raw plant material that my body just couldn't process. So, yeah, glad that's over with.
Yes. Oh, here, I'll hold my mug.
Right.
Here's to better times and better food,
Yes.
better health.
Awesome. S
Salud.
Right. So let's see, get through my list of questions here. I wanna make sure I get everything covered. Uh, so one topic that you had wanted to maybe hit on was, changing social norms
Oh,
and, possibly with, holidays and things like that. Can you touch on some of that?
yeah, sure. I feel like how do I say this? I feel like a lot of, carnivores and even people who do keto, they'll probably feel a little alienated, while they eat this way because everything in the world is telling you that you're wrong and that no matter how much success you have, it's like, "Oh, it's only temporary. Let's see how you do in 10 years." There's this, like, this little I don't even know, maybe shame? I don't know, it's just judgment. That's it. Judgment. So it's like when you're and times of holidays are supposed to be warm and inviting and exciting, and it's like for it's a way for us as excuse me, as people to know, like, to experience the time like, the flow of time. I feel like, it's like during you have Easter in the spring, and then you have, like, then in the summer, it's like, "We're going to the beach, or we're gonna" there's things you do throughout the year, traditionally anyway. And so the one like I said, this is I've been on carnivore for what? 4 4 months, 4.5 months now, and so I'm trying to think about, like, what we're gonna be doing for Thanksgiving. What are we gonna be doing for Christmas? And I think the one social norm that I did change was from my son's first birthday. We made, prime rib for him, and we put a candle in it. That was his gift,
That's
and
awesome.
and so cool. We took pictures of it, and, I made a, video on my channel that has, that where I talk about why I feed my kids this way, and then the thumbnail is him, like, chewing up like, we didn't cut it up or anything, yeah, we just count, like, "It's your birthday, here, just" and
Right?
he's just like, um, and he was happy, and he felt good, and then, we all ate too, and so I'm trying to think about, like, with my family during holidays, we do have meat there, so I think I'll just have to make the best choices, or I can bring my own food. I think the most important part about holidays is that you're with your family, and I think
Mhm.
food sometimes gets a little, like the positioning of, like, where what is important is kind of like, it's like Thanksgiving, "Oh, we could eat all this food, look how hot my
Right.
plate is," and it's like, it's supposed to be about thankfulness, and so I think if you focus more on why we're having the holidays in the first place, maybe you have a little bit better time with it as
For sure. For sure. Yeah, it's more about, togetherness with family and friends and not the things, which is food.
Exactly, and if you don't like, maybe you just choose not to eat, you fast a little bit, and then you go home and you treat yourself because you did it, you made through it, you listened to old Uncle John talking in your ear for 3 hours about his time in the war or something, and you're like, that's not based on my family, by the way.
Right. I
It's
was
just
gonna say, we'll edit that out so Uncle John doesn't.
no, there's no Uncle John, no. Nobody like that, it's just a brain.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, it always seems like there's so many holidays and, just birthdays and things, and it's at least for me, it always seems like they're set up at, like, every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always something, and it's like especially if you're trying weight loss or trying to get in a rhythm with any kind of a diet, there's always something that hits you, with some kind of challenge. It's annoying to
Yeah.
me anyways.
That's why I choose to abstain from these foods instead of moderate, because moderation trying to moderate is how I became 240 pounds and depressed and skin
Yeah.
issues and all that stuff, so you have to remember your why, and I really recommend everybody write a letter to themselves. Excuse me, you don't have to make a YouTube video like I did and be all dramatic and, you know, all in black. Well, I'm in black now, I guess, but, it's like, you don't have to be I think if you dig deep inside yourself, you'll make it through the holidays. It's like, "This is my why, this is my goal, this is what I'm gonna do," and you can do it. You can do it. Like, you just can because you're a strong person. Humans were made to be strong. That's how we got survived for so long because of that strength.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really good advice. So what I'm gonna shift gears again, go back to the depression, but not about you. If somebody is watching this out there and they're struggling with depression and they're looking for answers or looking for something, anything right now, what would you say to that person?
I would say that it's okay that you feel like this, and you're not alone. There are so many people who are suffering just like you, and there are ways in which you can get out of that depression. Obviously, we're talking about the carnivore diet, and I think that the first thing you should do is look at yourself and look at your life and think, am I waking up every day thinking about how I want to truly live my life? Am I crafting my life that benefits me and my loved ones around me? And if you feel like you're not meeting those standards, don't beat yourself up over it. You have to make sure that your baseline is good. Are you eating well? Like even if you just start small, like you were in your bed all day like me, why don't just try to wash the sheets, make your bed, and just stick with that for a while. Doing those baby steps and doing those baby steps and trying to change your life slowly. Don't do what I did and just try to do everything at once. I'm gonna work out and I'm gonna count my calories and I'm going to be more social and I'm gonna say yes to everything and then just take it really slow because if you're depressed like how I was, you need to be kind to yourself because you are your worst enemy right now. And if you're religious, pray really and really dig deep as to why you're feeling this way and see if there's something that you can change because your life is worth it and you're worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really great advice. I didn't have too much experience with a deep depression. It was kind of a mild depression, but yeah, I mean that definitely would have helped if I had heard something like that for sure in that time of my life. So thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I'm glad. That's all I want to do. I just want to help people.
That's awesome. So let's shift gears a little bit again. And if somebody is considering doing the carnivore diet, They heard about this crazy thing that these people are doing. They're like Russ says, they're going out in the field and jumping on the back of a cow and biting on it.
I
These
love
crazy
Russell.
carnivores.
I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait. So excited.
So if somebody is considering eating this way, what would be maybe your top tips or advice for somebody that's considering to eat this?
Think think you have like it kind of ties been into what I was saying earlier. It's like look at your life, like really analyze yourself and say, am I meeting the goals that I want to accomplish? Am I being kind to myself and having respect? Also, like having respect for others means you also have respect for yourself. And so if you want to do carnivore because you've seen the amazing doctors on here and they're lifting
Right.
the veil off of you and you're starting to actually learn like, oh, things are not quite as they seem. I say really learn everything you can. Don't just jump into it. Don't say, I'm gonna buy steak and eggs and bacon and I'm just gonna throw everything away. No. You really need to understand why it works, how it works, and find like I love YouTube because it's like I can see a real person. I can see their face. I can see how they're like presenting themselves. And then I can go from there and go, well, they're not snoring all night anymore. They're losing weight. They cured their type 2 diabetes. Like maybe something like that can happen for me. And I think when we as people, we seek connection. And if you find that connection with somebody online, maybe you'll never meet them, but you find that connection, you're like, well, they have the same thing I do, and they're saying this got better, then you're going to be more motivated because you've reflected on your life, you've learned how it works, and then you can take the proper steps into slowly. I really encourage people go low carb first. If you're not used to it, go low carb. It's okay. You didn't get your health issues like right away. I'm sure it built up over time, and give yourself grace.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good advice. I agree with you in terms of going slow. I jumped right in and it was it was almost disastrous.
Oh, well, look at you now.
Yeah. Yeah, I muscled through it. I have a lot of willpower, so that helped me out. But if
Mm,
I didn't, those 2 weeks with the 1+1 in the laboratory, that was
For me,
that was next level.
because I suffered with constipation so much, it's like I had this. I mean, I had the same thing, but it's like it was such a dramatic change. I was like, I'll take this. I'll take this over that. So I think
Right?
um, maybe somebody will feel the same like I did. It's like
Yeah.
not that bad.
Right. That's good. That's a good perspective because I've never had that issue. So it's
I
probably
pray you
more of
never
a
do.
relief to you.
I pray you never do. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So let's talk about your channel, your YouTube channel name. It's a very interesting name. So I kind of want you to dive into that a little bit and help everybody understand exactly what that means.
Okay, sure. So I'm one of those people that have really vivid dreams. And it came to me in a dream. I kept seeing before I had the dream, I kept seeing the word nourishment everywhere, like, or nourishing, like on a lotion bottle. And I purchased a book and I had the word nourishment on it. And I just kept seeing this word. And I was like, you know, pretty cool word. I like that word. And so then I went to sleep. And I had been, like, researching carnivore and, like, every day. Like, if the kids are napping, I'm watching carnivore videos and I'm more papers and I'm, like, really, really delving into it. I think, like, that's why I'm so passionate and I know some stuff now just a little bit. I'm not a doctor, but, it's like as a real person, I know things. And so I had this dream where I was looking through a book and it was like it said, it was like a big tome, like an old tome, and it was saying, like, talking about how the fatty meats are so important to us and just like all this different stuff. And then all of a sudden the lines were becoming blacked out. Like, and I was like, "No, wait, why are they becoming blacked out?" And they were becoming redacted. So, I
Okay.
think that you are and so I woke up with this idea of being like, "My nourishment was redacted for me. I should have learned this about this in school. Why does the news talk about this? Why is my doctor telling me to eat more fiber if I'm struggling so much and having pain?" And it's like or prescribing me more I was, like, on an SSRI for 5 years with my depression. It's like, "Well, why don't why didn't they tell me to, like, try and change my diet?" They told me to calorie count, that was not helpful. But so
Nah.
that dream I've had was, like, my nourishment has been redacted, and I kinda wanna unredact it for people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really unique way of looking at things for sure, especially in light of the modern medical establishment and nutrition establishment, I guess, if that's a thing.
I get you, man. Yeah.
So this
Absolutely.
this vision of a tome that you had, was this something that was in Final Fantasy VII?
No. No, it wasn't. Maybe from D&D, I don't know.
Right? That's awesome.
Long ago, there was
Right, right.
I'm getting all red now. I don't like telling people I like nerdy things. I like to pretend I
Oh,
don't. I'm a soul.
I'm into all of it too. So, Amanda from, Carnivorous Me, pretty sure they are too, because she recommended an audiobook that I've been listening to. Can't even remember the name of it now because it's so absurd. Or I should say absurd. It just seems simple. So it's called He Who Fights with Monsters. And it's what they call a LIRPG, which is a literary RPG audiobook. And there's like 10 books in a series, and they're like 25 hours a piece. It's insane. So her and her husband were listening to that. She talked about it for like a brief little bit in a video. So I asked her what it was, and she let me know, and I started it, and I'm hooked now. So, but
Can
yeah,
you
I'm into all
can
that
you
stuff.
can you can you message me that
Sure.
later?
Yeah. Apparently, it's a thing, literary RPG, and I had no idea that this was even a thing. It's kind of like playing DVD or D&D,
Yeah.
but you're not playing. You're just listening to someone go through this adventure, and it even like reads off stat sheets, character sheets, and everything.
Oh my goodness. That
Yeah.
is the coolest thing. That kinda reminds me when we were young and it was popular for those create your own adventure books. It's like you either
Right.
jump through the window or you go outside, turn to page 102 if you want to, jump out the window and then you start reading the book. Do you remember those?
Yes. Yep.
Those at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were awesome.
Like, but it's like way better. Sorry.
Yep.
I'll
Yep.
compose myself.
I'll definitely send that information to you for sure. Um, so let's wrap this up, and I want everybody to know where exactly they can find you on social media.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I have a YouTube page, Nourishment Redacted, where I make videos about my weight loss, my overall health journey, and also how the how the carnivore diet is helping me do more things. I have more energy. So like I made a video where I was cleaning my house and I talked about how much energy I have. So it's kind of like yeah, so there's that. And, I also have an Instagram page, which is fairly new, but I've been making lots of posts, and so you'll see, what we'll call them behind the scenes. So from the videos, it's just like my everyday normal life. Like I have a picture on there that is, and I captioned it. I'm not sure if it's beautiful or a nightmare. My daughter was cutting a butter stick, and it looks like it would. Let's just say you gotta look at it. Why don't you go check it out on my page and tell me if it's beautiful or a nightmare? Because beautiful, she's learning a skill, or a nightmare because, well, doesn't look like butter any
Right. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you'll get things
That's
like that. Like I
okay.
broke my scale, so I put a picture of these
Right.
things.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely don't have as much time to consume content as before I started a YouTube channel and started helping Carrie with the documentary. And it's like I keep getting notifications, Nourishment Redacted, post a new video. Dang it, put that on the list, to watch later. And I've got so many videos I'll watch later. I try to watch
No.
what I can when I can, but our busy season's picking up right now too. So I'm trying to keep up with everything. But it's rough right now.
You're doing great. I mean, I have to say you were so wonderful. You got back to me so quickly, and you're very thorough with how, like, you set up your, the keto cookout, and it's so professional, and I think you're doing amazing. So,
Yeah,
you
we've got
okay.
big plans for that. So, like I said, this week we have two big names confirmed coming on. So we'll see how that goes. I don't want to reveal to everybody yet exactly
No,
who's coming
sure.
on in case it doesn't happen. But
And somebody else is gonna be there.
exactly, somebody named Ellie is going to be there
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna
for
hang
sure.
out with everybody. It's gonna be a grand old time. So,
Yep,
so glad we've talked and we've been connecting, and I love all the questions. It made me really think, and it's just been so much fun.
for sure. This is definitely going to help a lot of people out there for sure. And you brought a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and I love your perspective on your family being carnivore and your husband being helped with eating that way, and you're having fun with it, and you have more energy now, and things are looking up, and it doesn't look like you're ever going to go back to the five-year period where you don't go outside. So that's really awesome.
Thank you so much. That's so nice. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't handle the compliments, so I'm just like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate you, Ellie, for chatting with me today and letting everybody get to know a little bit more about you. I'm honored to have you here, and can't wait to see you on Tuesday at the cookout.
We're grilling, baby.
Baby.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Ellie, for sharing your amazing journey with us. If you haven't done so yet, be sure you're subscribed to the Nourishment Redacted YouTube channel. There, you'll find some really unique content that will inspire you to eat healthy and live your best life. We'd love to hear from you in the comments section about your own experiences with the carnivore diet. Tell us about the positive transformations and benefits you've encountered, and don't hesitate to share this video with anyone who might find Ellie's carnivore journey both inspiring and healing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Your support truly means a lot to me. Thank you again. Stay amazing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.